If you're thinking about starting a window cleaning company, or maybe you've recently started one, you've probably already figured out that there's a lot that you don't know. And you probably don't even know what you need to know, but you don't know what that is, you know? In this video, I want to break down a couple of the bare necessities that you ought to know before getting started, or at least before you get too deep into it. Number one is get good quality tools. The ones from Home Depot or Lowe's or any of the bucket stores out there are not going to cut it. They'll leave streaks, they'll leave smears, they're going to cause you trouble. You need to get a good quality squeegee at the very least from a high quality provider like Window Cleaning Resource. Also make sure with that squeegee that you get a really good detailing towel. There's a lot of videos out there, there's a lot of information, but again, windowcleaner.com, I prefer to use the nice fish scale towels. The other option would be the squeegee life towels. A lot of times it comes down to personal preference. So you're going to have to play around with a few things before you can pick out what's your favorite. The tried and true towel, the choice for many a window cleaner, especially if they've been at it for over a decade. A lot of guys prefer the recycled surgical towels. Only issue with that is they're going out of business. Hospitals that use surgical towels are leaning more towards using paper towels of different sorts that work a little bit better for their purposes. And that means the recycled surgical towels won't be available much longer. So if you want to try them out and stock up, that's on you. I personally don't use them. I just use the nice fish scale towels along with some basic microfiber towels to wipe up. And speaking of microfiber, don't go to Lowe's and Home Depot and buy their or Walmart and buy their microfiber towels and try to use them for detailing. They work great to mop up the slop of the soapy water that you squeegee off of the window. But as far as actually detailing the glass to make it look clean and finished, it will most certainly be lacking and leave smears behind. Another misconception these days is a lot of guys think that in order to start a window cleaning business and do it right, that they need a water-fed pole, and that's just not the case. Don't get me wrong, I love water-fed poles, and they can double your production on a maintenance clean. But when you first get started, especially in residential, the majority of your jobs are going to be first-time cleans that need a lot of extra scrubbing, and likely the water-fed pole isn't quite going to be good enough to sufficiently clean that glass. I recommend for somebody starting out that they just start out with a solid arsenal of basic tools and forgo the water-fed pole for at least 6 months, even if you have the budget up front. Instead, invest that money into marketing. And that brings me to the next section of this video. Marketing is the most important of window cleaning. A lot of guys get bent out of shape trying to figure out which type of soap they're going to use, or what's the ratio, and what's the solution that you're going to use on the glass. And it's almost completely irrelevant. Just use a little bit of Dawn dish soap or buy one of the really nice window cleaning specialized soaps like I use. There's a lot of options out there and they all work. What's more important than how you clean the window is getting the customers to clean the windows for. What good does it do you if you can clean windows better than anybody else in the world, but you can't get a customer to clean their windows for? There's no money without a customer. So from the beginning, your focus needs to be on customer acquisition. That means you need to learn about marketing, direct marketing books from Den Kennedy or Story Brand by Donald Miller. Books like these are going to help you out in the long haul. If you're looking to grow beyond just a tradie where you're going to be doing the work yourself, then you're going to need to be able to lead a team of people. And so with that comes a lot of responsibility. If you want people to actually want to work for you, you're going to have to be able to lead them well. So start working now on your leadership ability, your communication skills, and creating a vision and a brand that other people are going to want to latch onto because they see the forward momentum that you begin to make. There's a lot of different ways to go about marketing. And the thing is, I've started a business in 3 different locations, and in each area, I had to use different tactics to get better results. You can get some really basic Bandit Signs made by UZ Marketing. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to get hooked up. They have the best deals around. And in a lot of locations, Bandit Signs work great. When I lived in San Diego, it was my go-to. I could go put up 20 Bandit Signs in a weekend, and then by Monday, I'm getting phone calls from people who want to get their windows cleaned. It was really easy, and I could get a customer for less than $5. I moved to New York, and the Bandit Signs just never got seen. I mean, I left the Bandit sign up, and it stayed up for over a year without any single phone calls. Another sign got me 2 phone calls, but one of them was trying to solicit me and the other one was trying to get a job. And it wasn't a great hire either. I didn't even give him a shot. And trust me, he wanted shots. He was on heroin or something. Now that I'm in Texas, Bandit signs don't work because people put them up too soon. Whether it's landscapers or the HOA people or a Karen down the road, somebody's picking up those signs within about 2 hours. And before I drive by after finishing a job, they're already in the trash can. So don't get me wrong, I still put them up from time to time, but they're just not as successful. I just try to use it to help stimulate people's thoughts in their minds so that I can enter into their conversation that they're having. I drop little subliminal keys here and there to make them think about cleaning windows. When you're starting out, you can't beat a door hanger. Everybody asks if door knocking works today. And in short, yes, it does. I've talked to many guys who've been able to build successful window cleaning companies based off of door knocking. Having said that, it's not the most appropriate skill for a service like window cleaning. You want to stay on the good side of all the customers and all the neighborhoods that you're working in. And they don't like solicitors. They don't like you to knock on their door. You can still go win a few, but you're going to earn yourself a lot of uncomfortable conversations with people who are just mad at you, and it's just not fun. If your back's against the wall and you need money today, you can't beat door knocking. But even if you're doing door knocking, I still highly suggest that you get a door hanger that you can leave there. If you crunch the numbers, eventually you're going to be depleted with your hours in a day, and you won't have time to knock any doors once you have a full day of work lined up. So you either got to hire people, which causes the quality to suffer, especially when you're early on and you barely know the skill yourself. But all that to say, find alternative methods to market. Talk to people, let them know what you're doing. Network, find other businesses that are aligned with yours where they have similar qualities and similar customers. You really can't beat a door hanger. Just make sure whether you're using door hangers, postcards, or anything else, that you have a really clear call to action. Number one, you want to make sure, like me, window cleaning is really big. You want to make it very obvious the one service that you're pushing right now. And then at the bottom of that, or somewhere where their eyes can grow, the object of all marketing is to get the attention of the customer. And then to use that attention to get them to make a decision to call you or contact you or reach out in some way to get a quote. Then from there, your object is to sell. And I'm not talking about sleazy salesmen who are trying to talk somebody into giving them some money. I'm talking about help them discover the solution for the things that they already need in a way where you can provide that for them. You want to be a helpful, consultative salesperson, not a greasy, grimy cash grabber, which is what people will perceive if you're doing door-to-door sales. Now, as far as technology goes, there's a lot of stuff out there. I highly recommend using a CRM like Jobber. That's what I use. I've been using Jobber for the past 5 years to power my business, and it's been fantastic. You can get started for under $70 a month for their basic package, but I would even recommend that you sign up for their Grow package. If you do one of their lower packages, make sure that you sign up for the marketing suite. It costs extra, but it's more than worth the investment. By the marketing suite alone, you can set up automated emails so that each customer can be reminded a month later, 3 months later, 6 months later, and 12 months after their appointment. This keeps you top of mind. Not to mention, you can also set up referral campaigns so that they can tell their friends and be credited to their account automatically without you having to track a single cent. On top of that, Jobber also is sticking with the times when it comes to AI. They have a voice AI. While maybe it's not the best voice AI on the planet, they make it really easy to set up. And I advise that if you use it, that you use it to set up for booking in-person consultations or quotes. It's pretty foolproof for the AI system to use. And then you get to be in person when you're actually pitching them on the work that you can do. You can see other services that you might be able to provide for them. And you have a higher close rate if you go there in person anyways. So you can't beat their voice AI receptionist when it comes to getting online appointments set. And then if you're busy on the ladder, or maybe you're afraid of hearing your voice on the phone, you won't miss a single call. And that's my final thing. A lot of business owners don't answer the phone every time, and that's their biggest mistake. Remember, every single phone call is a portal to thousands of dollars in the future. Maybe they're only calling to get their exterior windows cleaned for $150. But regardless of that, customer can turn into $150 every 6 months for the next 10 years. You do the math, but those dollars do add up. Not to mention they could refer to a neighbor or to a friend or to somebody else who could 10x that investment. My final tip of the day is you probably shouldn't just stick with your cell phone for anything. Sure, you can hustle and grind and that number will make do, but you can use a number for really cheap from numberbarn.com. I don't have an affiliate link with them, but it's a fantastic way to set up a phone number where people can call and it automatically gets forward to either you or a receptionist or somebody else, whoever you want to send the number to. On top of that, it allows you to track where the numbers are coming from. who's calling from what number. On top of that, it allows you to track who's calling from what number to see which marketing tactics are working the best. I have a different number on my truck, on my website, an online presence, and on my print literature. It makes it really easy to see if something is working or not working at all. On a side note, a lot of people ask about whether they should get an LLC or insurance or all kinds of other things starting out. And to get started, all you need to do is get the basic tools and get out there. Win your customers, make them happy, and get them to start leaving reviews online in places like Google and Yelp. As things build up and you're more fully invested into the actual business, you can upgrade to get an LLC. The primary type of licensing you need is just a way to pay your taxes for your local government. Here in Texas, we have to set up with the Texas comptroller and pay monthly taxes. So it's simply a sale use permit. The laws and the rules change from state to state and county to county. So you need to do a little bit of diligence on your end to figure out what's required legally in your local area. The only other thing that you might want to get before you get started or as you're getting started is basic general liability insurance. Now, it's not going to protect everything. If you get injured or if you hurt somebody or break something, it's not necessarily going to cover that damage. But if there's an emergency, somebody trips over a bucket that you had laying out and it's not your fault, then the insurance would cover their medical expenses. Or if a ladder blows your ladder, if the wind blows your ladder over and knocks something, it might cover it in that situation if you could prove that it wasn't your fault and that you weren't being inept or dumb. But guys, if you're going to start a window cleaning business, anybody can do it, but it won't be easy. If you're willing to grind and hustle and put in the work and the diligence to learn and to apply that knowledge, then you can definitely win and become very successful. There's a lot of glass out there and the industry is not saturated. There's a lot of Facebook trolls who will make you think that and might be bugged with you asking questions. So learn how to use a search bar and actually investigate for yourself rather than just asking a bunch of dumb questions. But if you do have dumb questions, ask me because I'll be nice about it and I'll post a video because it actually helps me to be stimulated and create new content for you guys. So thanks for watching up to this point, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Use my affiliate links to give me like a bonus tip and I'll see you in the next video.